If you're obsessing over your cost per lead, you're probably optimizing the wrong thing. Over the years, I've seen business owners spend months trying to get their cost per lead down while completely ignoring metrics that would have a much higher impact on their revenue and, more importantly, on their profits. They're easily leaving 6 or 7 figures per year on the line. And what most people won't tell you is that the businesses that scale aren't the ones with the cheapest leads. They're the ones tracking the right metrics and taking actions to help improve them. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to give you the 3 metrics that actually matter and how fixing just one of them could double your profits even if your cost per lead goes up. Over the last few years, I've built and scaled over 100 funnels for B2B and high ticket service businesses. And the ones that grow the fastest, they don't chase cheap leads. They optimize their entire funnel end to end by identifying the metrics that will have the biggest impact on the bottom line. So let's get into what they are. Now, the first metric you need to track is conversion rate. Now, that might seem pretty obvious, but the key thing here is how you're defining a conversion. Because what a lot of people do is they will have a simple contact us form or maybe an opt-in for a lead magnet and use that as their metric for conversions. But what I'm talking about when I say a conversion is the number of people who complete an application that pre-qualifies themselves and actually books a call on the calendar. If they never book a call, that's not a conversion. And this is really important because if you are running cold traffic, you want to be only sending data back to the platform of people that take the action that you want. And for most businesses, that's going to be booking a consultation or a sales call. So make sure that you're tracking the conversion as the number of people who land on your page and that actually book a call on your calendar. That is the real conversion rate you want to be looking at. And if your conversion rate is below 5%, you've got a problem that needs fixing and will have a massive impact on the revenue that you make. If it's between maybe 5 and 8%, you're in pretty good shape. And if it's above 8%, you're probably crushing it. And all you need to do right now is spend more on ads. You want to be tracking this metric weekly, not on a daily basis, because if you condense the time too much, you'll make decisions on data that isn't robust enough because it hasn't had enough throughput. Instead, you want to be tracking it weekly because then any changes that you make, whether it's the landing page, whether it's a new headline, a different offer, whatever this is, that number on a weekly basis is going to give you enough data to know if it's working or not. Now, the second metric you want to be tracking is lead quality score. And this is something that a lot of companies completely neglect because you could have a 10% conversion rate, right? But if all of your leads are crappy quality leads who they can't afford your service or they're not ready to buy, they're not educated enough, you're not going to be able to close them and you're just basically wasting your sales team's time. And if what you're doing is filling your sales team's calendars with crappy leads, they are going to start to feel frustrated. They're going to be taking call after call with people who aren't qualified and spending hours on calls with people who are never going to buy. Eventually, they start blaming the marketing and you end up in a pretty typical scenario where sales says it's a marketing problem and marketing is saying it's a sales problem. But if you don't have a defined way of figuring this out, of defining whether leads quality is a marketing or a sales problem, you're not going to be able to know what you need to do to fix it. So the way we get around this is by using a simple application form to score the leads before they ever get onto a call with you. You can rate them from maybe 1 to 3 or 1 to 5 based off of 3 kind of key areas. The first is going to be their current situation. Are they a good fit for what you do? If you're working with B2B SaaS companies, for example, and someone from an e-commerce store applies, they're going to be marked as a 1. If they are a dream client, they're going to get a 5. The second thing you want to be tracking is their readiness to get started. Are they ready to get started right away, or are they just browsing? If they say they want to go within the next 30 days, that's going to be marked as a 5. If they say they're months away or they're just exploring options, then it's probably going to be like a 1 or a 2. And the final one typically is going to be some kind of financial qualifier. So do they realistically have the budget available to work with you? If you work with companies doing a minimum of 7 figures, let's say that they are at 30K a month in revenue, you're going to score them a 1, but if they're doing 100, 200, 500K a month, that's going to be a 5. Once you are able to start scoring these leads, there's a couple of things that you can do that will have a big impact on the business and on your sales team's morale. So first thing you can do is start to filter the best leads and send them to your best closers. Because if you've got a lead that's a 5 out of 5, you send them to your top closer, this is going to give you the highest chance of closing bigger deals from the best leads, and it's going to keep your top closers around. The other thing you can do is send only the best data back to the platforms. Facebook and Google, they have a feature where you can send conversion data back to them. And if you only send those top leads, so the 5 out of 5 leads, the algorithm is going to optimize for more of those types of leads, meaning over time, your ad performance is going to improve month after month. So the third key metric is your show up rate. This is the one that if people are hitting their cost per acquisition targets, so let's say your target is 2K for an acquisition, and you're hitting that, you're probably not paying that much attention to this metric. But this metric alone can have a massive impact on revenue, and more importantly, on the profits that you're making from the ads that you're already spending on. Let's break down a quick example. Let's say you are selling a $7,000 service, you're generating 100 calls per month, and your cost per lead is $150. If your show up rate is 55%, you're getting 55 people to show up to calls, and with a 20% close rate, you've got 11 deals. That's $77,000 in revenue. But now let's factor in your cost to deliver service. Let's say it's $2,000 per client. So that's 22 grand in delivery costs plus the 15,000 in ad spend. So your total costs are 37,000, giving you $40,000 net profit. Now let's say you fix your show rate and you can get it from 55 to 70%. Your cost per lead stays exactly the same, $150 per lead. Same ad spend, you get the same 100 calls booked. But now 70 people show up instead of 55. Same 20% close rate, you close 14 deals. That's $98,000 in revenue. Delivery costs do go up because you're closing more clients. That's 28,000 and your ad spend is still 15 grand. So your total costs, $43,000, gives you $55,000 in gross profit. So you've spent the same on ads, you've had the same cost per lead, but your gross profit just increased by 37.5%, focusing on one single metric in your funnel. You didn't spend a single extra dollar on ads, you just got more people to actually show up to the calls that they had booked. That is ultimately why your show up rate is so important. So if you're below that, you have some work to do. But how do you actually fix it? First thing that you want to do is you want to leverage the lead scoring you're implemented before. If a lead is scored lower, maybe a 2 or a 3, you might want to have an SDR call them to pre-qualify the lead or push them to a triage call before they actually get on with a closer. This protects your closer's time and increases the quality of calls that they are taking. The next thing you can do is to tighten up your post-booking process. So how is your team reaching out after someone books? What content are they being sent between booking and the actual call? And what are you doing on the confirmation page? Because just because they've booked the call doesn't mean that they're sold on actually showing up. So you need to continually sell them on attending that call. They need to believe that speaking to you is the next logical step to solving their problem. If you can build that desire and give them genuine belief that you are the one to solve their problem, they're much more likely to attend the call. You can do this by showing them what they're going to get on the call, maybe remind them of the pain that they're experiencing, and make it crystal clear that this call is where they're going to get the solution to their problem. If you do this right, you can easily take your show rates from 50 to 70% in a really short period of time. Now, I said there were 3, but I'm going to give you a bonus 4th metric. And the metric I want to talk about is your close rate. This one tells you if you are ultimately bringing the right people to the call, if you're solving the right problem, and if your offer is right for cold traffic. Because most people try to sell their main offer to cold traffic and they struggle to get it to work. Eventually just saying paid ads don't work for us, and they stop trying. This all comes down to not having a cold traffic friendly offer. Because when somebody comes through cold traffic, they have no idea who you are. They're completely cold. So if you are running an ad to completely overhaul their marketing or take on a massive part of their business, it's a tough ask for someone to build that level of trust in just 5 minutes from clicking an ad. This analogy is overplayed, but it's like asking someone to marry you on the first date. It's just too much too soon. So what works better is creating a cold traffic offer that's maybe a little bit lower risk and easier for someone to say yes to. Think of it as a little taster or a foot in the door offer. A great example would be our 60-day 30-day conversion sprint. This is something that we offer to rebuild and optimize your sales funnel for the traffic that you're already driving. And we guarantee to increase conversions or you get a refund. So we build the full funnel, we optimize it with weekly split tests for a full 60 days. But our core offer, the thing that our business is truly built off of, is a full performance marketing agency. So we're a full performance marketing team where we take over your ads and the growth. But getting that trust from cold traffic is actually quite hard. So we get our foot in the door with the conversion sprint, we prove that we can help them grow, and then we make the pitch to our full offer. So if your close rate is below 15% from cold traffic, you're probably asking for too much too soon. So you might want to create a smaller offer, and it doesn't have to be something brand new. It could be something that's splintered out from your main offer. You can deliver it, and then you can upsell them to something bigger. It allows you to build trust first. Then you can upsell them once on the main thing once you have proven you can deliver. This allows you to acquire customers at a profit because you can charge upfront for that short period of time. And it also increases your customers' lifetime value because they are buying the upfront thing, and then you can back end them into your main service. So to summarize the 3 metrics that actually matter: first, you've got your conversion rate, how many people book a call. Second is your lead quality score. Are you attracting the right people? Third is your show rate. Are they actually showing up? And the bonus one is your close rate. Are you asking for the right thing from cold traffic? The key here is you need to stop obsessing over your cost per lead and start tracking these metrics, because I've seen businesses double their revenue by fixing just one of them. And if you haven't watched it yet, check out this video where I break down the 5 conversion killers on B2B landing pages. It's the perfect companion to what we just covered. And if you'd be interested in us doing a full conversion audit on your funnel, then the link is in the description.